Okay, Joel, good to see you. Good to see everyone. Today, we're going to talk about three reasons why people tell you it's too expensive. Here's the deal. In almost 90% of the cases, if we sell to people who are, in a first world country, which the majority of us are, when people say, this is too expensive for me, it's not a logistical objection. Because let's be real with each other. If you gave someone in your family was sick, right? God forbid, that should never happen. But if someone in your family was sick and a doctor comes to you and they say, we have the treatment, you have $10,000 in your bank account, and they say the treatment is $50,000. Wouldn't you move heaven and earth to put together that money to be able to afford the treatment? Most of us would. And most people in the first world countries, they would be able to come up with the funding to buy the treatment so the patient gets better. So what's the deal? Why do we hear it's too expensive when we know that in most cases, it's not that they don't have the money to do it? Well, there are three reasons why. And number one, and one of the biggest reasons, is because we don't do enough of a good job in building the gap between the hell state and the heaven state. This is a big mistake a lot of people make. They hear me say, oh, you have to find their hell state. You have to make them aware of hell. And they think, oh, I'm going to ask three questions, and if these questions land, perfect. If these questions don't land, that person doesn't have a problem. That's not the case. Hell awareness, when we're talking about helping a prospect get attuned with their hell, this is a phase. And if I can't find problems, it's my responsibility as a sales professional, as an entrepreneur, as someone selling something, to help them find their own pain. It's not that all you have to do is, oh, I'm going to ask a few questions, and if he has problems, we're good. If he doesn't, then I'm in trouble. This is where this is our job, right? To position yourself as a trusted advisor, to create a contrast between their situation and the ideal situation. So how do we do that? And we're going to see some hell awareness questions. Some you might have seen before from my lives, some might have not. So let's explore. When we're talking about hell awareness questions and this hell awareness phase, these questions help answer, and I want you to take notes. It's not that it only helps us answer what's the biggest pain point right now. It's, do they like their present situation? So are they problem aware? How satisfied they are with their present situation? And what is their past history? We have to ask as many questions as needed until I'm satisfied with the gap that I'm building. If there is no pain, I don't permit you to pitch. You don't have my permission to pitch. Like, if I don't find the pain and I just give them the price for my thing, I'm only creating objections, and I have to prove myself to them why they should go with me, why am I better than the competition, and why should they buy now. The sale is won during this hell awareness phase. So let's look at a few questions. I always like to open hell awareness with this question. I'm going to ask a few present reality questions that goes like, okay, it sounds like you're here to discuss about your sales. What are you currently doing to increase your sales? This is a present reality question to get them to become more aware of their present reality. They're gonna unpack and they're gonna explain, oh, I'm doing this. Perfect. How long have you been doing that for? X number of years. Okay. And is there a specific reason that you chose that direction? I want to get them to think about their choices. If they have doing something for 5 years, I'm getting them to tell themselves that, oh, I haven't made any changes in 5 years. Maybe it's time for a change. So with each one of these questions that I'm asking, I'm getting them to question their present reality. Now, as I enter health awareness, the question that I always prefer is, how satisfied are you with your current process? Or I can also ask, how satisfied are you with the outcomes that you're getting, with the results that you're getting? And now this right away opens the emotional door for them. They're gonna say, yes, I'm satisfied, and that's perfectly acceptable. And it's my job to, again, help them find problems. Or if they say, I'm not that satisfied, I'm gonna help them explore what they're not satisfied about. This conversation has nothing to do with my product. We're not there yet. But let's look into some more advanced health awareness questions. Once I open the emotional door and they start, let's say, throwing some problems and I'm starting to probe and clarify what they're saying, I can also ask, okay, so it sounds like you're not 100% satisfied. Would you be open to sharing with me your top challenges you're having right now when it comes to your sales, when it comes to your weight loss? And let's say they give me 5 different things. A lot of people have this problem. The prospect starts throwing 5 different challenges at them. Which one do you focus on? Which one should you use to start building a gap? Well, you're going to ask, okay, out of these 3 challenges, which one do you feel is the most important for you right now? They're going to say X. They're going to say this one. Oh, why is it so important to you now, though? It's always good to ask this probing question to see how important is it for them and get them to push back. Oh, it's very important because of this or this reason. Trusted advisors, what they also do well isn't just to make the prospect aware of the problems, it's also making them aware of the cause of that problem. So it's always good to ask and to go deeper with the prospect by asking them, okay, so you've had this problem. Why do you feel that's happening? What's causing this, though? Have you ever considered? Because if I help them realize the root cause of a problem, number one, I'm intensifying the problem. And number two, I am positioned as a trusted advisor because I am the one who shines new light in their problem. I'm helping them look at the problem with a different perspective. Another question that I can ask, once I start asking, why is that important for you now, though? Or where is this problem coming from? Or what's causing this problem? I can also ask, what barriers are in your way from overcoming this? Here's another scenario. If they have someone in place to help them solve their problem, but they're not 100% satisfied with them. For example, if someone comes to me for sales coaching and I ask them, oh, what have you been doing to grow your sales? Oh, I'm working with a consultant. Okay, I can ask them, what were your expectations when you started working with that consultant? What am I doing now? I'm getting all their ideal criteria when they hired the other vendor, the other provider. Since they are there, they're on the call with me, there is a gap in their process, something that they're not 100% satisfied with. If I help them uncover that, and I also help them uncover what's this challenge is costing them right now every day because they're not solving it, I win the sale. A question that I love, one of my favorite questions during health awareness, especially if you feel that you're going nowhere. Let's say the prospect says, yes, we're very satisfied with our situation. We're happy. We have someone to fix our challenges. We're good. One of my favorite questions, instead of me trying to shove futures and benefits, is I have to ask them, okay, I mean, it sounds like things are going fairly well. What would you change about your situation if you could, though? Or I can ask them, is there anything that you would change if you could, though? Now I'm helping them brainstorm and compare their situation with the ideal situation. That's where I can find gaps, but without triggering resistance. I'm not telling them, oh, you could be doing this, you could be doing this. Why not do this so you can move faster? This is not the place to make suggestions. I'm going to ask them from their perspective, what would you change about your situation if you could? Now, what if they say I would change nothing? Do I just let them go? Not necessarily. In these scenarios, what I like to do is, for example, I ask them, what would you change if you could? Oh, we're very happy. We wouldn't change a thing. I would say, yeah, and maybe you shouldn't make changes at all. May I ask if there was a way for you to get more sales or lower your cost per acquisition? Would you be against having a conversation around it? Now, what am I doing? I'm not planting problems. However, I'm inserting doubt. I'm inserting doubt by saying, okay, if there was a way, I'm not saying I have a way, because that can trigger resistance. I'm saying, if there was a way for you to get more sales or lower your cost, would you be opposed to having a conversation around it? Now, I'm stress testing the prospect, and I help them see that, there's opportunity there. There's doubt in my mind that I'm not doing everything that I can. So now they're open to a conversation, and I can probe and clarify from there. As I help them also, it's not always a conversation of they have to be in the worst problematic state in the world. Not everyone has to be in hell to want to improve, right? A lot of people, they can't find any pain. The prospect is doing all fairly well, and they panic. Oh boy, we're in trouble. This guy doesn't have any pain. I can't find any problems. How will I sell them? Well, what if I told you that there's another way of building a gap? And this is where you have a prospect with that they're doing okay, but they could be doing great. And these could be your best prospects. This is where, instead of probing into hell, you want to ascend them into heaven. And how you do that is you ask questions like, so what are your priorities for this year? What are you looking to accomplish? And the next level, like a step up, could be, so as you're looking to evolve your business or evolve yourself into the next level, who do you feel you have to become to step into that person, that new reality? What am I doing now? I'm getting them to brainstorm, not just what they would change inside the business to make it better, but who they have to become to get to the next level. Because people with high aspirations, it's not that they're missing one thing, but they realize that they have to become another person to get to where they want to go. What got you here won't get you there. And these prospects who aren't necessarily in pain, but they have a higher level of goals, they realize that. So if you ask them those questions, they will lean into the conversation, and they will actually appreciate you for asking that, because this is a quest they're already on. Another way of helping them exploring the gap is, of course, we have to put numbers behind it. So once I start finding some problems, the mistake a lot of people make, they stay very surface level. They find a problem and they move on. No, we have to find what is that problem costing them. So you can ask questions like, once I find the problem, I can ask questions like, how is this problem affecting your company's sales? Or how is this problem affecting you? If I'm selling something B2B, a business-related offer, I can ask them, when you have these problems in the business, how much does it cost you to fix them typically? Tell me more. Or you can also ask, have you lost clients because of these issues? I see. How much were those clients worth to you financially? If you're selling a consumer offer, you can probe into their personal life and you will ask, how is this problem affecting you? Oh, is this having a problem in your relationships? How is this affecting your family though? Now, I don't mean to intrude, but how do you feel about that? How's having that problem for so long? How's that making you feel? Why am I doing that? Because if I show them that having this problem in the surface up here is having downstream effects into their relationship, into their personal life, and it's hurting them emotionally, I'm building the gap in their mind. And they're much more motivated to solve it. And they will justify the cost to buy your offers because they see what they're missing out is much bigger, much larger than the investment it takes to work with you. Now, another reason why a lot of people are getting the too expensive objection is they simply can't determine if it's a money objection, a true money objection, a logistical objection, in terms of they really just don't have the money, or it's a fear and uncertainty objection. Clarifying this is very easy, but the mistake people make, again, I always like to go to the mistakes because we want to eliminate them. So once a person says it's too expensive, what's the trigger most people are making? What's the trigger behavior, the triggered behavior for us to say, oh, don't worry, because we typically offer payment plans or discounts, or we're entering negotiation mode. Big mistake. Why is it a big mistake? It's a big mistake because I haven't found out yet if they feel this is going to be valuable for them. Do they see the value in the first place? It's too expensive. When someone says it's too expensive, I don't know if they really don't have the money to invest. I don't know if they're afraid of the investment because it's a big number. I don't know if they feel it's valuable. Because I can think something is worth $1 million, but if the other person can't use it to produce $1 million, it's useless to them. They wouldn't pay, they wouldn't pay anything for it. So the question I need to ask is, first, I need to isolate and find the value. Find that this is valuable for them. This is the first step, always. Otherwise, I'm throwing darts in the dark. So I'm going to ask them, okay, I can understand how this might feel expensive. May I ask, if you did have the money, would you commit to taking the journey so you can get to where you want to go? Why am I asking it like that? I'm using this language because I'm saying specifically, if you did have the money, now the person is going to answer back. If it's a fear objection, they're going to say, well, I have the money. It's just I don't feel that. And now this is a different objection that I need to handle. It's not a true money objection. It's not a logistical objection. It's more of a fear objection. Let's go back to the language. So I asked them, if you did have the money, would you commit to the process? Would you commit to the solution so you can get to the outcome? Now, if they don't feel that this is the solution for them and they don't see the value, again, they're gonna combat my question and they're gonna say, well, I it's not a money thing, it's just I don't like about you guys because I don't like what you guys have because of this. And they can tell me what they don't like, what's the objection they have around the solution. And then I'm dealing with a value objection. I have to enter this conversation mode to see, is there anything that I can change in my offer or provide more clarity to get buy-in? Because if someone has a value objection, I don't care if you break it up into a 50-month payment plan, they're not going to buy because it's not a money objection. It's just showing up as a money objection because they don't feel the money is worth it. So let's go back to the language. Let's look at another scenario. So you ask them, so if you did have the money, would you commit to the solution so you can get to the outcome that you want? Let's say they say, yes, I would. If I had the money, I would do it. You have to ask them why. Everything that comes after the why, meaning their answer, is the leverage that you need to objection handle effectively. Because their answer will be what they value in your solution. So many people miss that. So they will say, yes, if I had the money, I would do it. Why would you do it? Well, I would do it because you're going to help me produce more sales. And now I don't have a sales team, so we have a sales problem. What does that person just tell me? Like, if they have the money, if they had the money, they would do it because they have this big sales problem. And I'm going to ask, okay, perfect. How do you think you can resolve that? I want now to get them to brainstorm. This is not the time to offer payment plans yet. I want to get them to brainstorm if they have other ways. Now we're entering the negotiation process, but I'm not going to show my cards yet. So I'm going to ask, how do you think you can resolve that, where you can find the money to put into the solution so you can get more sales? Now I want them to come up with options. If they cannot come up with options, that's when I will go and start offering payment plans. And I will say, okay, would it help you if we broke it up into a 2-pay? Would it help you if we broke it up into a 3-pay? Let's say I offer payment plans and I still get resistance. What do I do then? What's the problem then? If I get resistance to a payment plan and resistance of, for example, you agree on the payment plan, if I'll break it up into 3 payments for you, does that help you? Yes, it does, but I have to think about it. That's a fear objection. It's not a logistical objection. It was always a fear objection. It's not that they didn't have the money. It's just that they fear around investing the money, or they still feel that you won't 100% help them. And how you handle that is, as we've discussed in the past, you enter fear objection handling mode. You can start asking nightmare questions. You can essentially move back to past agreements in terms of what they're missing out right now. If you show them that they're missing out, for example, if you're selling a B2B offer, 50,000 every single month because they don't have the solution, it's very hard for them to say, no, I cannot come up with the money. And it will turn into a logistical objection. If you're selling a consumer-based offer, again, past agreements say that you have to go back to what they're missing out right now in terms of their personal life, in terms of their health, in terms of their relationship, in terms of all the other currencies of us humans. As humans, we have 5 currencies. Money is not just the only one. One is the money, we have time, we have the energy, our energy, how we maintain or spend our energy. We have identity, which identity is how do I feel about myself? What do I think about myself? And reputation. What do others think about me? So when I'm selling a more consumer-based offer, a B2C offer, it's not just if I'm not helping them make money, that's not a big deal because I have 4 more identities to play with. How much time are they missing out? What are they missing out in terms of their relationships and how other people are thinking about them? What are they missing out in terms of their energy, vitality, health? Or what are they missing out in terms of how they look at themselves when they are by themselves? I'm throwing a lot at you, but I want you to realize that in most cases, when people say it's too expensive, if we're selling to first world countries, again, it's not an actual logistical objection. Everyone has 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 to invest into your solution. It's just they don't want to bother. They don't feel that the problem is painful enough so they can invest in your solution. If there's a 10% chance that it's a true logistical objection, and this is the last reason why, it's a messaging problem. And the messaging from the marketing that you're using or the company you're selling for is using, it's attracting the wrong people. And this is where we have to go up market. That means that the messaging that's communicated to the market right now, it's attracting the wrong prospects. It's attracting prospects with no money. So typically that happens because it's scarcity-based messaging. It's helping someone to go from -1 to 0 or from 0 to 1. And that's the hardest people to get results for. And they won't be able to afford a solution. So what needs to happen there is we need to go up market with our messaging, talk about higher level problems. But again, this is a marketing issue. This is a messaging issue that it depends on the offer that we're selling, but we need to talk to a different avatar of people overall. That summarizes the 3 reasons. Any questions about what I covered? Joel, we're on Zoom, we're by ourselves on live. Yeah, go for
Hey,
it.
Chris, great presentation. I did have a question about the fitness industry. People who've been struggling with an issue for a while, but haven't really been giving it any focus.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, they started taking things serious. They're looking at their nutrition. They're starting to exercise consistently. So, ask them about how satisfied they are with the results, but they've only been doing it for a couple weeks. They're feeling better, but not really, seeing too much at this point, which is normal. But yeah, creating that gap when they're in the flow of things, but they haven't been given it enough time yet,
Yeah.
and asking them how confident are you that you would accomplish this on your own without outside help, and they might be a little optimistic at the time.
Yeah. So this is a specific type of prospect where we shouldn't ask how satisfied are you with your situation because they don't have a process yet, essentially. They just started.
Yeah.
So they're gonna say, yeah, I'm just figuring out. I don't know if I'll get, yeah, I'm hopeful. They haven't seen enough failure to have doubt in their minds, right?
Mhm.
So with those prospects, you said it right when you started. They've been in pain state for a long time and decided to make a change, right?
Yeah.
So we can't find pain with those people, or a lot of people a lot of times we find their own pain because this is a pain that they have learned to live with. If someone is overweight, let's say for 5 years, they're okay with it. So there's nothing I will tell them that will create pain in their mind or a gap to get them to buy because they live with that pain. They're okay with it. It's a pain they tolerate. They've accepted it.
Yeah.
However, there's a trigger event that told them, and they might not reveal it to you during, the initial health awareness question. There was a trigger event that happened that told them, hey, wake up. If you don't lose weight, this is going to happen. And it's for someone to make this type of change, it is something critical. It can be, do you typically find this on your calls?
Yeah, try to. It's not always a big one, but sometimes I ask them, was there an aha moment where you decided that something has to change?
And what do they say?
Sometimes it's, increase in their cholesterol. They had their first child. They're thinking about their longevity. But a lot of times it's in those situations like 20 pounds overweight. They've been okay with it, but they're looking to take things to the next level and they're just getting started. Haven't suffered that failure in a long time.
Yeah. And that's where, number one, I need to find that critical event, but I'm not going to ask them. I need to push them away a little bit more. It's not, oh, was it something that happened and you started working out? It's, oh, so it sounds like for 5 years, like it wasn't a priority. What made it a priority now? Just so I understand.
Okay.
Like, what made you prioritize health and fitness now, after 5 years? Oh, I'm having a child. Okay, and why is it important for you to get in shape? So it's like I'm finding a vein of gold. I need to go deep there because that's the only selling point.
Okay.
That critical event will become the pain point, and that will become the hell, and that I will use for the heaven as well, because that's the thing that they have emotions for. They couldn't care less about their cholesterol. It's probably because a family member told them, hey, move your ass or you'll die, right? They couldn't, if someone's overweight, for 5-10 years, it's not that they did a health test and they saw a number and they got spooked. It's either their doctor said, hey, if you don't fix this, they will be throwing dirt on your face, or someone got concerned about their family. So this is a big identity and reputation play based on the 5 currencies that we can dig into, but we have to dig into because that's the only thing that will work in these cases.
Gotcha. And if they come back and say that they're determined to do this on their own with us, but they feel confident that it's going to happen, just kind of emphasis.
Yeah, and I'm not questioning your tenacity, Joe, but as you might understand, if we have 2 men, in a river, we throw both of them. One knows how to swim, he will get across the shore. One doesn't know how to swim, he will drown. It's not that the second man wanted to drown. It's because he didn't have the skills. He didn't know how to swim. So for you, are you okay with making that bet?
That's good. I like it. What about, I get a lot of people who say they feel like they know exactly what needs to happen.
How do you mean? How do you mean you know exactly what needs to happen? Just so I understand.
Yeah, I know exactly what I need to be doing,
Yeah.
in terms of nutrition and exercise. It's just not getting done.
Okay, so what kind of diet are you in right now?
Yeah, I'm just focusing on high protein,
Yeah.
do a little intermittent fasting and try to control the processed foods.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're eliminating carbs, right? You're focusing on protein.
Yeah.
It's basically ketogenic. Yeah. Are you aware that after 3 months on a keto diet, your energy levels will plummet? I'm sure you've read about this, and your fat loss will stall. And that's where you have to get into carb cycling. Otherwise, we see a lot of people rebound and gain the weight back.
Mhm.
Have you considered those scenarios? Like, I'm sure you're aware of those as well.
Yeah, and I'm not 100% ketosis, I will bring in some carbs on the weekend.
Yeah. Who do you have in your corner to guide you through that process?
Yeah, just some YouTube videos.
Okay, so just the free stuff.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why you're choosing just to stay on the free stuff?
Yeah, I feel like I got enough of the framework. I mean, I'm not sure if it's the absolute best strategy, but yeah, either way, it's not really actually happening. I feel like I have the knowledge and kind of just looking more for the accountability.
Yeah, because everyone who watches videos on YouTube becomes a billionaire and has washboard abs, right?
100%. Yeah.
Joel, I'm giving you a hard time here, but do you feel having guidance, having tools that we've put together after hundreds of case studies, do you feel it would put you in a better position so you can lose fat for sure? Or do you feel it's more appropriate for you to go out there and see where the do it alone path has taken you?
Yeah, no, sure it would be more effective to get guidance.
Okay, so are you opposed to having a conversation to see, how with if and how we will be able to help?
No, not at all.
Okay, so I guess let's take a step back. Like if you were to work with someone, and I'm not saying you should, I don't know yet, but I will say the exact words, even if I'm in a consequence phase and in a nightmare state, like I will go back because that person needs work, right? Like if I reach the consequence and I'm getting, oh, I still want to do it on my own, reset the process. I would do exactly what I just did. Because now what did I do? I went from a person who is close to change and they're open to change, but they're not sold yet. Nowhere near. So now I have to go back and I would go into have an awareness essentially, and I would ask them, okay, so based on your ability to lose weight without counting your calories every single day, from 1 to 10, where do you see yourself?
Yeah, my chance of succeeding, maybe an 8.
Okay, so we're confident there without counting your calories, right? Because with our clients, we don't require them to count their calories because it's really a waste of their time. Cool. How do you feel about your exercise? But essentially, what I'm doing is I'm trying to poke holes in the plan.
Okay.
That's the
And
only way to do it.
yeah. And should you go back and say, all right, if you feel like you know what needs to happen, what's been going on for the past 5 years, not being in the place that you want to be?
Yeah. If they've been trying for 5 years, yeah. This is for the person who, again, they had a critical event. Like this is a nuanced case where they had a critical event, they didn't want to bother, now they want to bother. But yeah, it's going deep around their commitment to why this is important. If you do that work on the front end and we get them to more of an emotional thinking perspective, it's hard for them to, oh, I want to do it on my own, because that's rational based thinking. Like they haven't seen enough urgency for them to move faster.
Yeah.
Especially for those people, helpful will also be, the term, anyways, psychological anchor. So you've been overweight for 5 years, Joe, and that's perfectly normal. It's, a choice you made. But as you might understand, as you're moving towards becoming an athlete, the biggest challenge we see with a lot of people is making that mindset shift. So I definitely respect you for stepping up and even joining this call to make that mindset shift so you can start thinking and acting as an athlete, because that's the toughest jump for people to make. Are you with me when I'm saying that?
Yeah, I'm following.
So that's in the beginning of the call, I want to start planting that mindset and get them to think that their mindset now is one of an overweight person, and they need to evolve to a mindset of the athlete so they can become an athlete. So they can become they can have worshipful abs, they can have this and that and that.
Okay. Yeah. Start to raise that doubt around who they view themselves, their mindset, identity.
Yeah, because when someone says, "Oh, I'll definitely get to where I want to go on my own," that's an ego play, 100%. It's nothing else. I'm I haven't been doing it, but I'll get there. I want to start breaking them down from the beginning, and that's where, by making this psychological anchor, yeah, they haven't been an athlete. So you wanting to do this on your own, it makes sense because you're still thinking from the person you were. I totally get it. But are we going to get to where we want to go with the mindset that we had that kept us stuck where we were for 5 years? No, an overweight person doesn't turn into an athlete unless they start thinking as an athlete. So what decisions do you feel you have to start making to, like, there are so many analogies that you can play with.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna do it on my own. Yeah, because in the Olympics, like, all the athletes, like, they go without a coach. They just watch YouTube videos and they start stringing medals around their neck. Am I right? So there are so many things you can play around with because the whole getting fit, like 80% of the thing is mindset. So this is where all of these anchors and analogies and the man in the river or the man in the burning building, like, there are so many things to play with, but you need to put them in your game because it's an emotional decision, the fitness. It's not that they will, they have to put in the work, they have to commit, they have to make the time, and they have to pay for the program. So you have to get them to think very emotionally, both around their pain and around the person they need to become.
Okay.
Because if we just ask, what's the biggest challenge? I'm not losing weight. They're not gonna pay $5,000 to lose weight in, 3 months from now. It's just not happening. So I have to really get them to step into that new person that they're becoming and get them to visualize.
That's good. Appreciate it. And I do talk about in the presentation, I mean, in the program, how we work around helping them turn into that new person. But good to bring it up before in the reasons.
It has to be conversational, because if I just say it, it doesn't mean that I'll accept it.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Right? I can tell you, oh, Joe, yeah, you have to do better objection handling. You have to do this. You suck at this. You suck at this. It doesn't mean that you're listening. You're not accepting necessarily a feedback. You're just, yeah, nodding along. Cool. Yeah, sure. I'm not talking about this conversation. I'm just giving you an example, right?
Mhm.
If I want to install a belief, it has to come from you.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's not registering. I'm just talking, and the other person is nodding, but I don't know if he's accepting what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's where, even with this objection, do you feel the objection that I'm going to do it on my own? Do you feel that I'm not going to tell them, oh, this mindset is going to get you, it's going to keep you stuck. No, I'm going to ask them, well, do you feel this mindset of always doing things on your own and just watching the videos and putting together information on your own and hoping it works? Do you feel that has held you back in the past? And I'm asking that because I want you to win. Now, if they say yes, if they say no, again, it's coming from them. I'm starting to shift their beliefs. But if I just tell them and slap them around, I'm just triggering resistance. And I don't know if what I'm saying is landing or not.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Anything else?
No, I don't think so. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. I don't see anything from IG as well, so I'll wrap things up. Keep me updated. How are we doing with our sales? Is it picking up?
Yeah, February was good
Nice.
in terms of conversion rate. I feel like it went pretty smoothly.
Awesome, awesome, cool. Keep me updated, and yeah, I'll be seeing you Sundays.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, Chris.